Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. So we're going to do another one of these speedrun games. It has taken forever for me to get into one of these games. I started the recording a minute ago and then restarted it, trying to wait till we got a game. So here we go. And this is against a 636 rated player. So see what we come up with here. Hopefully he moves. I changed my
G3.
board and my pieces and stuff around some.
E5.
So, okay, right away, he's not taking control of the center with a pawn, but he is going to, do this and put pressure on the center. So, if you're not going to take the center, then I'm going to go ahead and take it. So, pawn in the center. Let's go ahead and start with that. I want to do this pawn because it frees up this bishop. So, let's go ahead and play this. Now, this is not a good move because it's going to blunt your bishop straight away. So, I could also do this, and then we just work on some trades, maybe play that. We'll see. God, I'm freezing, man. I got the heat on in here, but it's still cold as hell.
Knight F3.
All right, so this puts pressure on this pawn. I could play this and defend it that way. I also have this move. I'm going to play this knight out. Go ahead and play this knight out and defend that way. This is defended by the queen. This is defended by the knight. Ah, he's back. I'm already just over the winter already, man. God, this cold weather is just miserable.
Short castle.
And he castles. Also, I changed my sounds and all that stuff, so
Knight F6.
I think that it's got, I think I changed it to that woman's voice saying like knight to F6 and stuff like that. I think that's what it's got on there now. So if that is the difference, if it's different, let me know what y'all think. Because I changed the board. I think I changed the pieces. Let me know what you guys think.
D3.
So this is to let the bishop out, right? Now, if I play here, then this guy's pinned and I would have to waste a tempo coming back. So I'm going to play here.
Bishop
Just
E7.
go ahead and break that pin before he gets it. I'm not going to play the F pawn or the H pawn to try to stop it. If he wants to come down and put his bishop there, then that's fine. Now notice this is defended, and this is also defended. So even if he comes down and they snipes this guy off, when I recapture, the queen's still going to defend that. Again, defended. So everything's good here. I have this bishop move here, but that walks in to this. So now, if he came down and played this, if I play here, so let's say I castle. Let's say I castle. He plays this. I go here, takes. If he took this, he would just lose the piece. So I think let's just go ahead and castle. He's got the potential for a discovery, right? Right now it doesn't matter because it's still going to be defended twice. But that's just something to keep in mind, that when this knight moves, then there's going to be another attacker on the D pawn. So I need to keep that in mind. But this guy has played perfectly reasonably, solid. He's not got control of the center. His knights are looking at the center, but so far he hasn't committed his pawns. But he hasn't made a crazy F-pawn move. He hasn't moved the same piece twice. Nothing is hanging. So his position looks good here. This is a good-looking position. That's not what you want to try to do here. You don't want to do this. You don't want to push pawns in front of your king. So straight away, this doesn't look great. Now, I'd like to get this guy out, maybe play this and come in and force that off, but I don't want to walk straight into this, right? Or this. So I think let's go ahead and preemptively play this, stop anything from coming here,
Rook E1.
and then we could do this. Now, this rook coming over, I think signifies that he wants to do this. So if he does play here, right, pawn down, I don't really want to take and let him get that rook and open up all that pressure. So I think if he plays this, that you just go here. You just do that. So let's go ahead. We'll develop the bishop.
E6.
This is still defended, right? Attacked, but defended. 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 Defended.
E4.
Okay. And that's the move that we were anticipating. So let's go ahead and push.
E4.
I don't want to open the center up for him. Now, if he plays here, right, you could just play this and force him back out of there. So the question now is on his knight. What do you want to do with that knight? And also, this is actually an interesting move because that's a pin, and it's only defended by the bishop. I am absolutely freezing, guys. Jeez.
Knight B1.
So he undevelops. Undevelops. Now, I do like this, but how do you add more pressure? So if I step up and he pushes that, if he takes and takes, it's still defended. That guy pushes. If I go here and pushes, obviously I'm not going to take. If he takes me, you could do that. All right, I'm going to do this. And if this gets pushed, then I'm going to go here. Because if he takes in that scenario, then you've added more pressure to that knight. So that's how I'm going to go ahead and play that. But I have this battery lined up here. So that means this bishop can't come here and trade itself off, or he would just lose the bishop. And I have the potential to do this or whatever. So we're in a pretty decent spot here.
Queen D2.
Okay. Now, this move is looking at that, which also breaks the pin. If I were to come up, it would break that pin. Now, I have this move, which prompts him to play that. If I take, knight takes, I'm thinking let's just bring a rook to the open file and put more pressure down that file. That way if he comes in, well, actually I'm thinking about this move. Because then you block, takes, and then that pawn hangs at the end of that. Now that just hangs a pawn. That just hangs a pawn. So if I take, notice that he can't recapture, and the only thing he could do is to block. And if he blocks, I could take it. If he captures me, I could take this pawn. Right? So let's go ahead and take.
Bishop
let's go ahead and take
B4.
that. And then this move, I think you just go ahead and... Hey, do I do this and then take like that? If he pushes and I take, he takes, I take, he takes here, then I take like that. Huh. Here, this. But then this would hang. No. Because he does that. Well, we'll sort that out in a minute. Pawn up is the move. Pawn to C3.
E2.
Okay. Well, he missed the pawn to C3 move there. Okay. So, yeah, let's go ahead and we'll
Bishop
take. We'll go ahead
E1.
and win that rook.
Queen takes E1.
That's a nice move, but it's defended, so we can't play that. I could do that and then maybe try to sneak in like that, but let's not play hope chess here. No need to play hope chess. I do have this and then that. But if he so let's say I play here and he does this. I can't play that anymore, and this guy here is loose. So this is the move that I'm not wanting to see played. But I guess really if he takes, then I just do that and he loses another pawn. So I could do this and force this bishop off the board, which that bishop is a key defender of his king, and that does seem like a reasonable idea. I'm kind of thinking about this to add a little bit of defense, but I could this is defended. So if I play here and he takes and I take, if he does that, takes, and then that slides over. Yeah, I like that. So let's go ahead. Let's play this. Let's go ahead and play this. Because we're at material, and if we could get ourselves into an endgame up a pawn and an exchange, that's a significant amount of material. Now this move forces me to capture him, and
Bishop
I will.
Takes G2. King takes G2.
And I have that, but then there's nowhere really to go from there. I have this. Just lining those two guys up.
Rook F8.
I think I'll go ahead and play that. I don't see a good reason not to. Now, notice here, none of this is defended. None of that is defended. I'm sorry, none of it's developed. Sorry. I'm fully developed. And he is not. Like, I'm way more developed than him. But I don't really have a good way to try to break through here. I'm thinking about this and this. But I really don't want to move my queen there, because I do like being on this light square diagonal where I have access to h3.
Knight H2.
So this move, I believe, is so he could either... it's so he could push one of these two pawns. Now, I do have this, but I think that might be just a little bit unnecessary. I don't think I need to do that. Now, I could also think about moving my own knight and playing f5, trying to break this thing open. That's a thing too. Here, then that threatening this guy. So if I play here, then I can't stop that. All right, I can't take anymore. Now I have this, but then maybe this is the idea. And I'm not sure. Huh. That just hangs the knight. This move, then this move. If I go here, though, and he does that, then he's hitting that twice, and then I just have to defend it. So I feel like this and try to get my knight in is the move. Because where else would the knight go? I could go here, but he doesn't necessarily have to take. He could come back, and then my knight really just kind of looks stupid there. So how do you make progress in this position? Definitely not that. I'm going to do this and this. At some point, I have to start moving some pieces up the board. So this move could shut that down, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Actually, if he plays here, I think I'm perfectly content
Queen
with...
D1.
What is this? So he wants to add more defense to that square. This guy's playing really well. He could play here, and that's defended. Ooh.
Knight
All right, I'm
E7.
gonna play this. Now, obviously, this is what's coming. But I want to start trying to break this thing open. This move, and I could just slide over. There's nothing really to worry about there. Or actually, I would probably just come here and add more defense to that square. But I think also, if he pushes this, I could come here and try to work my way in like this. Now, if he takes, that does break apart my pawn structure, but it opens the center of the board. And I'm up material, and I'm I'm better developed. There's my dog barking right on cue. Brown! I think, though, the better move would have been for me to try to break it open on the F-file. This guy's playing really well, man. Just solid.
F3.
Yeah, there we go. Now that blocks the queen. keeps me out of there. He could push that now, but I think just push here, right? He takes, you push that. Here, takes. But then I also lose control of that. I do think trying to bust this open on the F-file is the way. But I also like this. I have this and then that. That weakens that diagonal, but he doesn't have a light squared bishop. But he could push and play that check, and then I could step over. So I'm not really that worried about it. But I think that breaking it open on the F-file is the move, because his king is here. So where does this guy go in the meantime here? Here? Let's play... I'm going to play here and push the F-pawn. Now, I know that I have advocated against pushing the F-pawn since the beginning of this thing.
Bishop A3.
But, you know, it's not really... You know, in this scenario, it's not dangerous immediately because he doesn't have a light squared bishop to exploit this diagonal, and his queen is going to have a hard time coming over to that. So I'm not really that worried. Now, I am thinking about playing here now and just kind of migrating the queen over. I'm not worried about him taking here because then I would just recapture, so I'm not really that worried about that either. Obviously, I have to move the queen. But I also have this move, which just blunts that. That's a move I wanted to play anyway. So I am kind of thinking about that and that maybe. But there is a case to be made for coming over to here. But that does take that square away from him. I'm going to play that.
C5.
And then I'm going to do this. I could just play here and create this dark squared barricade to shut him completely out. And this knight could just work his way back over like that. That's an idea. Because from here, you know, you've really only got well, this is the only two squares you've got, unless you want to give up that guy. But I think now this makes a lot of sense. And if he were to capture, my knight could just step in and take.
C3.
So, yeah, but if you take and take, I'm not going to move this guy. So here, takes, push, takes. Yeah, let's go ahead and push that F-pawn now. Now he does actually have a check, and he could win a pawn. So that is something. I should have thought about that. Now, if I take here, that brings the knight in. So let's go here. Let's take like this. This check is problematic. But let's shore this up. So when this check does get played, I'm good to just step over, right? And this is now defended by that. So that's fine. And there's also potentially this and then this, just parking him right in the center there. But I think now we'll try to slide our rook over, take this open file, something like that. Maybe you play here and pressure that guy. But his king is awfully exposed here. If he takes, we'll just do that. But I think it's time for this.
Knight F3.
Now this is a good move. Because takes, then he could push this. Here. takes, takes. He pushes. Takes here. Pick that up. This pin, I'm not in love with it. So I'm kind of thinking about this. There's also that. But then he plays here. I don't have that check anymore because of the knight. This guy's playing awesome. This is good. Play here and break the pin. He plays that. Takes, takes, takes. Alright. Yeah, let's do this.
Queen f6.
We'll play here. If he does that, I can take. But this check, again,
Queen a3 check.
You just step over, right? Or do I play here and threaten this queen trade? Because that does give me another square for the knight, and I don't think that he wants to trade queens. If he does, then I would just step the king up, right? So I'm not... But now there's also the argument here to be made that this rook sliding over hits this guy, and how do you defend it? I'm going to slide over. He doesn't have any entry squares, and this just threatens to win a knight. Now, he could develop here and start trying to put some pressure with his rook, like this, on my queen. That is a thing.
Queen a4.
Now I have this, which defends that pawn. Or I have this, which if he takes, he loses a knight. So what's the better move here? I think you play over. If you do that, you lose the knight. So let's go ahead and we'll put the pressure here
Rook f8.
on the knight. So now I'm threatening to... Okay. So let's just slow down. He is threatening to win here. But I am going to win a knight here. So I think let's go ahead. Let's take that knight. That comes with check. It's not defended by anything. And that's going to force the king somewhere. And I think from here we can start hunting the king a little bit. That's also hanging. I don't know how worried I am about this. Well, I don't want him to take this pawn. So I might actually slide over here to keep him from taking this. But let's see what he does with the king. So, all right, straight away I could take another pawn. Here, ooh, actually, takes, that forces him to one of those two squares. So let's say, okay, I take, and he goes here. That's a check, forces him up. Check, and then mate. Check. 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 Yeah, I think he's walked himself into a checkmate here. So, check.
Queen takes g4 check.
And notice he can't come to this file because the rook.
King h2.
So I have this check. These dogs, man. I have this check. That's his only legal move. And I think that's checkmate, right? So, check.
Rook f2 check.
This guy has played a good game of chess. He didn't really go wrong until the end there when he hung that knight. He got a little excited about that, but I definitely didn't play the best because I hung a pawn. So,
Queen g2 checkmate.
let's have a look at this game.
Checkmate, black is victorious.
I think this guy played good. I think he played a good game.
g3. e5. Game
so,
start.
all right.
g3.
Best is c5.
D5.
And I'm not in love
G2.
with that.
d5.
All right, so we've taken
Knight
the
F,
center.
knight,
They
knight
want me to
F3.
push that knight out.
Knight C6.
I'm just going to play it like
Short
this,
castle.
develop my pieces,
Knight f6.
get another piece in the
D3.
game.
Bishop e7.
Okay, that's not
D3.
terribly ambitious, but
Bishop
it's not a
E7.
bad move.
Knight c3.
All right, and now they want me to start trying to kick these knights, but I don't want to do anything crazy. I just want to get developed.
Castle.
So develop my pieces, and look at this. Look at the control here of the center, right? So pawns are controlling these, knights are protecting these, right? So I'm really putting a lot of pressure here on the center.
H4.
Okay, this is, and I said in the game I thought that was a bad move,
Short
and
H4.
it is bad.
H6.
So I played,
H6.
this is a fine
Rook
move.
E1.
Okay, and now it's minus 1.1.
Bishop E6.
This was inaccurate.
Rook
The
E1.
best move now is to chase that knight
Bishop
away.
E6.
But I'm just developing,
E4.
just getting our pieces in the game, and they want me to take or push is fine.
D4.
I choose push,
Knight B1.
and he drops back.
D4.
They want him to come forward, but that just drops the knight.
Knight B1.
So he comes back.
Queen D7.
Okay, develop the queen.
Queen
Get the
D2.
queen in the game.
Rook A D8. Queen D2.
Yeah, but see, I didn't want this to get played, so I
Rook
played
A8.
this to put some pressure on, or I'm sorry, to add some more pressure to the D file.
B4.
But when he does that, now
Bishop takes
it's
B4.
a problem,
Queen E2.
and he
Bishop
slides out of
takes
the way.
B4. Bishop
I
takes
take
E1.
the rook,
Bishop H3. Queen
and now
takes
I'm just
E1.
trying to force some pieces off. They don't want me to,
Bishop
but
takes G2. King
we do
takes
anyway.
G2. Rook F8.
Okay. Rook to the open file.
King takes
And this is the
D2.
thing. I should have been thinking about busting the F file open here, because that's what this is. This move is to free up the F pawn.
Rook Fe8.
And I really
Knight
kind of
H2.
dilly-dally here. And I also thought about this, but yeah, I
Queen D6.
really kind of, see, I'm losing the thread here.
Queen D1.
Yeah, they want me on that diagonal.
Knight E7.
Okay, not bad.
F3. Knight H7.
Okay, that's a fine move.
Bishop A3. C5.
That's perfectly reasonable as well.
C3.
Now they want me to take, but I don't want to liberate his
F5.
knight.
C3. F5.
Yeah, see, this is bad because the queen check.
G4. F takes
So
E4.
takes,
F
takes,
takes E4.
and then I just
E6.
fix my pawn structure, so now this check no longer forks this pawn.
Knight F3.
And from here,
Queen F6.
I start putting pressure on the F file.
Queen B3 check.
Okay,
Queen
that was
King
the right
H8.
move.
Queen A4. Rook
And
F8.
there's the pressure with the rook, or I'm sorry, the knight.
Queen takes 8.
The pressure
Rook
on the
F8.
knight.
Queen takes
He
8.
takes,
Queen
and that's
takes
mate in
F3
three.
check. King G1. Queen King G1. Queen takes Queen King G1.
Here,
Queen takes G4
that just
check.
wins a pawn. I didn't have to take the pawn here, but I mean, why not? If it's hanging, why not take it?
King G1.
Oh, because I guess this forces him to the corner, and then that's just checkmate. So it saves you a move.
Queen
Yeah,
takes King H2. Rook F2 check. King H1.
and then
Queen
checkmate.
G2 checkmate.
But I mean, this guy played well. What did he say he played? 83%. I mean, that's not bad. 83% is not bad. He had one blunder, one mistake. He did have 6 inaccuracies, but I had 2. So, I mean, it's a good game until he blundered his knight. But he did start pushing some pawns around his king, and he ended up with his king out in the open. And I think that's kind of the takeaway here is, the last couple of guys that we've played have not done anything really wild. There's not been, any kind of crazy hanging pieces all over the place. This guy did hang his knight, but he won a pawn. He seen the pawn was hanging, but forgot that he was being counterattacked over here. So it was a little bit of an oversight. But when you look at the position, really, this is not an unreasonable position. The big problem is his knight ended up back out here. His rook never got into the game. This bishop never made an impact on the game. And honestly, the queen didn't either. He could have forked here and won a pawn, but he just didn't see it. So, but I think the big thing is, again, pushing pawns around your king. Just try to avoid that. Anyway, hope y'all learned something. Like, comment, subscribe, all the things. And also, if you guys could throw me a like. If you don't generally like the videos, if you could throw me one, it'd be great. Try to bring in some new viewers and stuff. As we start to get to the higher ratings, we're now, like what, 650, something like that. So we're getting ready to start getting into a little more, serious chess. And I'd like to bring in as many people as we can. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Get on out of here. See you guys.